All right, now let's go to another topic. Now, see the discussion about Nigerian retail landscape. Let's get a check of what's playing out for the third quarter of 2024 as we analyze the major factors influencing consumer spending, during this period. We know that consumers are going through a lot right now. It's also happening, in the global scene, even though we're seeing inflation numbers come down. Most of the leading economies, we're still hearing that consumers are still, grappling with high prices, when they go, to the markets. But join us for this conversation. Now we have Professor Uchenna Uzo, the Academic Director, Africa Retail Academy for Lagos Business School, joining me via Zoom. Great to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Fantastic. So what would you say were the key drivers of consumer spending in Nigeria for the third quarter of 2024?
I would say we've had an interesting time. To begin with, as you alluded to, inflation seemingly is coming down, but on the ground, we're not seeing that drop in prices. Food inflation is at about over 40% at the moment. But the interesting thing is the resilience in spending behavior that we see amongst Nigerian consumers. To begin with, Nigerians are adopting saving strategies that are quite uncommon. So for instance, they are choosing to avoid particular brands that are way above their income level, or they are going for the lowest possible prices for some of these products and services for their brands or for other alternative brands. But the thing that I find even more interesting is what Nigerians are choosing to spend their monies on right now. 95% of shoppers in Nigeria at the moment have changed their spending behavior. So 80% of what spend is going to now is food, and after food, transportation, and then utilities. And if you drill down into the data, you will also find that within the food and beverage category, the top spend items are spirits, seasoning products, and pasta. I've been asking myself, why are Nigerians choosing to spend more on spirits these days? Some people say it's because of the frustration and so on and so forth, but I think there may be more to it than that. The other interesting trend around spending is what I call the polygamous nature of spending and brand usage among Nigerian consumers. They are not as loyal as they used to be. They are choosing to use their favorite brands, but also use alternative brands at the same time. And this is creating some level of competition amongst those who are selling in these different categories. We are finding that Nigerian consumers in spending are more rational, so they're asking tough questions. They're asking, why should I buy this product in an air-conditioned shop when I can buy it by the roadside at a cheaper price? And there's one beautiful, or should I say, interesting phenomenon that we're observing as well, which is that a lot of former middle-class Nigerian consumers are moving to the lower class and determining what happens at that lower class. They have very high expectations when they want to buy, and they are forcing brands to become more accountable. So overall, the way Nigerians are spending is showing resilience in the way they save, resilience in the way they are rational about what they buy, resilience in the way that they are switching from one brand to another.
I guess you would have to choose which one will make you happier. With what you told me about spirits, would you rather get a drink? Would a drink that's alcohol make you feel happier, or would you get food? So I guess that depends. But how would you say changes in government policies and regulations affecting the retail sector?
Yes, some of these changes have had strong effects. So to begin with, the cost of doing business in the retail space is much higher. Margins are affected. A couple of businesses have had to shut down. Some other ones have had to lay off workers. And what we find that is really interesting as well is the power of location in the way sales is evolving in these difficult times. a lot of retail stakeholders are finding that those of them who locate their outlets very close to densely populated areas where consumers live are ending up being more profitable. Because right now, every consumer is calculating the cost of transportation to go to wherever they need to go. And they are preferring to buy closer to their neighborhoods than ever before. The other interesting trend that we're seeing is that supermarkets are demanding for smaller pack sizes, and they are also demanding for cheaper variants. And this is now affecting how supermarkets are stocked with their stock keeping units. So it's all about smaller portions at lower prices. Some are even requiring lower quality in order that customers can afford those products and services. But there's something that is also interesting, which is the boom that is taking place in Nigeria's apparel retail sector. So it's not all gloom, there's some boom. In that particular sector, we are seeing that the high cost of importation is now creating a preference for made in Nigerian apparel products, like Adire products. And this is also driven by Nollywood. This is also driven by the Japa or the migration phenomenon, where people are feeling that they want to use Nigerian products a lot more. And this is beginning to create some buzz, which we are likely to see grow in the next coming months.
All right, let's look at retailers now. What strategies would you say retailers have to employ to mitigate the inflationary pressures and maintain sales? Because you did mention we see consumers switching from more expensive commodities and moving to the cheaper ones when they're trying to make those purchase decisions.
Yeah, so now it's all about innovation. Innovation is what is standing people out. And the interesting thing, as it says, in a place like Nigeria, is precisely when there's adversity, when there's chaos, that you see some of the strongest forms of innovation. So there are three trends or three innovative strategies that players in this sector are using. The first one is business model innovation. So what that means is that a lot of brands in the retail sector are rethinking the way they position their businesses, the way they arrange their assortment. I'll give you a particular example, which is a new phenomenon that is rising. Restaurants are now being located within supermarkets. So a lot of supermarkets are finding that bread alone is the single largest producer of traffic within the store. And that by moving from bread to offering other food products, by creating little food kiosks or restaurants within the very supermarket, they are finding that their profitability is rising more than they ever expected. And so they are repositioning their stores to be more of eateries, selling other products around it. The other interesting trend we're seeing is packaging innovation. Just by reducing the size of the packages, redesigning them, remodeling them, a lot of players are finding that products become a bit cheaper, become more affordable for the target customer, and they are able to stay afloat. But the third one, which I think is the most exciting form of innovation I have seen, is now the increase in made in Nigerian products. There's a lot of interest now, even in the retail level, to go for products that are sourced locally, that are manufactured locally, and there's an increasing appetite to export, which is why the Africa Retail Academy is putting together the third African Retail Congress, Africa Retail Congress of 2024, aimed at helping retail stakeholders all over Nigeria and Africa to discuss how to take their retail beyond borders. And it's going to accommodate all the retail stakeholders, people in government, financiers, consumers, distributors, retailers. And it's easy to sign up for it by just going to Google and typing in the Africa Retail Congress 2024.
So I guess it's safe to say higher prices for imported goods, I guess that's a blessing in disguise. As you said, Nigerians now are buying Nigeria at this point. So, but talk to me about, expected key drivers, for consumer spending, in this fourth quarter. We have festivities coming up.
So with festivities coming up, we are going to see more spending. It's usually like that. People want to spend, people want to give gifts, people want to resell, people want to enjoy during events. And so we're going to see this play out in increased spending, increased sales. However, it's going to be a moderate increase because we know what inflation is doing to us. But one interesting trend that will go along with this is that you are going to see shoppers being a lot more rational. They are going to be going online first to check very well what prices are, to compare prices before they buy. And they are also going to be going to the source, the very source, to get cheaper products and services to buy. So they are going to bypass middlemen a lot more and try to find where they'll find products and services that fit their budget. These are some of the trends we anticipate will show up in this seasonal time.
All right, Prof, but before I let you go, I want you to weigh in on this matter now. We know a pressing issue is for consumers is fuel prices. And we've seen, comments from the Dangote refinery, counter comments from petroleum marketers, about which price is cheaper. Is it better to import fuel or is it better to buy from the Dangote refinery? But from all of this, it seems nobody cares about the consumer at all.
Yeah. So is what is happening. And in a situation of a price war, there can be a lot of confusion. But in the end, the market will settle. Who wins a price war? At the end of the day, it is the consumer that wins a price war, because the consumer will be able to find different prices for the same product, and they will logically go for the one that is the cheapest, the one that fits their budget. However, it will help the economy a lot for this price instability to go away, for there to be more certainty about what the prices of PMS should be. And once there is more certainty, even if the prices would go up, it's easier to manage business, it's easier to plan, it's easier to serve the consumer. So we should move from a state of uncertainty to one to relative stability if we want to grow the consumer base and also grow the economy.
Right, Prof, definitely for me personally, I want to see those prices go lower because it's always painful when I have to buy fuel every time. But thank you so much, Professor Ochenauzo, Academic Director, African Retail Academy, Lagos Business School. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. My pleasure. Have a nice day.
You too. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll head straight to the markets. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.